everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crowdsource Commander. I am Chris Cornejo, your friendly neighborhood media producer for Card Kingdom, and the guy who plays in all of these things and build these decks. So, as voted on Twitter by y'all, some of the people who voted are watching this, over the past day or so, we're building Garth One-Eye for Modern Horizons 2. Garth is a bit of a weird one. He's a 5-color commander, he's 5/5, play Wooburg. Comes down, all that sort of stuff. No real too special things about him. Oops, sorry, let me turn down the music here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're building Garth One-Eye, as voted on by Twitter. He's 5/5 for Wooburg. His big thing, he has no evasion, no other abilities inherent to himself other than tap, choose a card name that hasn't been chosen from among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Sheevan Dragon, Regrowth, and the big one that everybody loves, Black Lotus. Create a copy of the card with the chosen name. You may cast the copy. You still pay its costs. So, building Garth is a little weird. You only get to choose anything that he can make once per time that he is on the battlefield as that iteration of Garth. So if you want to make more than one Black Lotus with Garth, you have to have him enter the battlefield again. So this kind of means that Garth decks become de facto flicker decks, just because you need him to be re-entering the battlefield a bunch to be able to make multiple Black Lotuses, or Sheevan Dragons, or whatevers. Honestly, so the big flashy thing with Garth is Black Lotus, obviously. The thing I think actually is going to win games more is going to be Sheevan Dragon and Regrowth. Yeah, just because Black Lotuses don't win games on their own. Black Lotuses are fuel for other things. The other thing you have to note about Garth is you don't get to cast whatever it is for free. The only reason Black Lotuses are free is because they are inherently free. They cost nothing. Everything else you have to pay the mana cost for. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with Alpha, Beta, Unlimited cards, Disenchant is 1 and a white. Brain Geyser is blue X. You draw X cards. You force somebody to draw X cards. So you can draw cards, you can have an opponent draw X cards. Sheevan Dragon is 4 red for a 5/5 flying dragon with fire breathing. Terror is 1 and a black. Destroy target creature, target non-black, non-artifact creature. It can't be regenerated. Regrowth is 1 and a green. Put a card from your graveyard back into your hand. So those are the options Garth gives you. It's actually pretty good. As far as Garth can do a little bit of everything. Black Lotus, for those of you who don't know, is a 0 mana artifact that you can tap and sacrifice to add 3 mana of any color. It's stupid powerful. It is the most expensive card in Magic. For now, though, we have our normal thing, which is we have some rules and themes that we have to do. So for Garth, it's pretty simple. You create and copy. So it's going to be a lot of copy effects. You are actually casting the things that Garth creates. So we can copy spells, we can copy the tokens that they are, because it says create a card. When you're creating a card in Magic rules, this is a semi-recent change as of the last year, I think, you create a token copy of that card that you then cast. So before, when Storm would happen, you would just nebulously create a copy that would happen. It is now official that those copies are tokens. So if we make a Sheevan Dragon and cast it, that is a token of Sheevan Dragon. So we are going to be copying tokens, we're going to be copying spells on the stack, and Flickering Garth is kind of a sub-theme, just because you have to flicker Garth to get more than one use out of him for any essential thing. The other bits, we're going to try to go fun and not busted. It is kind of easy with token maker generals like this, and especially Garth with Black Lotuses and things like that, to, hello Dark Wars 99. You can go busted pretty fast. There's ways to, go semi-infinite. So no 18 doubling seasons. Correct, we are not doubling seasons. We might have 1 or 2 of those sort of effects where you double tokens as they come in. The latest game nights had some amount of busted Garth play in it. We're going to be doing some of those sort of things, but we aren't going to try to, combo out or win on the spot. which I don't think is what Jimmy was doing in game nights either. Not Jimmy, sorry, that was Josh. Josh Lee Kwai was the one playing Garth. Jimmy was playing Asmerata Mardica Deus Tina Koldakar, which I just want to say to prove that, yes, I can say the name off the top of my head correctly. Cool. The next bit of rule we are going to do is ABU. Wherever we can, if we have an effect that was printed in Alpha, Beta, or Unlimited, we're going to try to use that card. It just plays into the theme of Garth. Garth, for those of you who don't know, is the protagonist of the very first Magic novel, Arena. I don't know if I'm going to go thematic enough to put Arena the land in the deck, because it's pretty bad. It's essentially like pay mana to fight, and our creatures aren't necessarily made to fight all the time. It could end up in the deck. We're also a 5-color deck, so lands come at kind of a premium, so we'll see if there's room for Arena or not. Rule number 3, we're trying to stick to $300 as the limit for the deck. I think we can do it. It's not exactly a budget build for a 5-color deck. $300 is nothing I would ever consider budget. For budget, you have to be at least down by like 100, if not 50 or something. But for 5-color decks, it's very easy to let your land base just run away with you, throw in all the fetches and duels sort of things if you have access to them. We're going to go a little more restrained. So $300 is our limit. If we go a little over, I'm not going to complain too much because building Garth is weird. Anyway, let's dive into things. So, we have Garth. He's a 5-color commander, so we have one each of our forests already in. Or one each of our forests, one each of our basics already in. And as always, when I build decks, I like to start with the lands. So let's do that. Garth is also new enough coming in Modern Horizons 2 that there's not a ton of Garth builds out there yet. 63 decks on EDHREC, as you can see. And that is pulling from all of these websites. Aether Hub, Architect, Deck Stats, Gatherer, Moxfield, MTG Goldfish, and Scryfall. Obviously, not all of these things are, deck building places, but enough of them are. There's only 63 Garth decks. Garth is a weird general to build around, so thanks Twitter for making me have to build that deck. Let's jump down to lands and get started. So, as I've stated before, I like to start out with about 38 lands as your base. You can go up or down depending on what you're doing. This is a 5-color deck, so a lot of the rules I've been applying to a lot of the 2-color decks we were building go out the window. So, Command Tower, which I have stated before I'm kind of met on in 2-color decks, is an immediate auto-include. Yes, throw in Command Tower. If we could throw in 5 Command Towers, I would do it. Exotic Orchard, so normally Felwar Stone style effects, Exotic Orchard style effects, where you are reliant on what color of mana your opponents can make to determine what colors of mana that thing can make, I'm not a huge fan of, just because I don't necessarily know while I'm building this what my opponents are going to be playing. It's harder for this deck to be able to just utilize any mana because we have to hit all 5 colors. The plan for this deck is to get Garth down as fast as possible and start doing fun broken things with him, not busted broken things with him. In a 5-color deck, these sort of effects are great, just because no matter what lands your opponents are playing, you can use them. We have the fetches here. I'm going to address the fetches all at once. Our biggest constraint to a 5-color mana base is a $300 limit. Absolutely, which is why stuff like Exotic Orchard is great, because it's not a great land. It only costs 25 cents. So, super there. Command Tower, 50-cent card. So far, Garth, I think, is like, what, 12 bucks? So that's our most expensive card so far. Don't worry, we'll probably break that pretty quick. The fetches. So, we could throw the honest-to-goodness fetches into this deck, and that would be most of our budget right there. I'm going to try to build this without any fetches, have a Maze's End package. That is actually a thought. I hadn't considered that. I don't know how much I like gates if we aren't doing a whole bunch of other gatey stuff, though, and I don't know that Garth is the deck to do that with. That is a fun thought, though. If I have room for it, we'll see. Like, I don't know how many utility lands or other stuff I'm going to have room for in a 5-color deck, and I don't know all of the stuff I'm going to do yet for the land base. I have a few thoughts. But Maze's End is definitely a consideration. Having lands enter the battlefield tapped is a big cost. Yes, even in Commander, even in Casual Commander. I would put the level of Commander that we play on Commander Kingdom at hard casual, I guess. I don't know, like, people are playing to win, people are playing to do big dumb things. So it's this weird mix of we certainly aren't CEDH, but having a land enter the battlefield tapped is a definite cost. That is not nothing. So, yeah, Maze's End is definitely a consideration. We can go that route. Suffice to say, I'm not throwing in the fetches. We're trying to do without fetches. I do want some amount of fetchable lands because we are going to be playing other cards that let us go get things out of our deck or key off of Door to Nothingness for free. Oh, good lord. So first off, Card Kingdom, how dare you? Jumi123, I like the way you think. I think if we're going to do the Maze's End package, I'm going to stick with Maze's End as the dumb thing that lets me win the game, as opposed to Door to Nothingness. Yeah. So, if we aren't playing with the fetches, we definitely aren't playing with the OG duels. We can play with the shocks. That's going to be a decent amount of our budget if we do, just because it's like, what, 20 bucks? 15, 17, and the other one's up there. I don't know where the other ones are. 15. And honestly, if we're going to do mazes, which I am now thinking I am somewhat committed to, so thank you, Jumi. I think you've just thrown into direction for this deck that I wasn't expecting to go in. I don't know that I actually have room for things like all of the shocks. Stuff like Mana Confluence is very good. Does cost a life. I don't know about things like Mana Confluence just budget-wise yet. There's a lot of things I want to do with this deck. I don't know how much it all is going to cost, so I'm being a little hedgy before I throw in super expensive stuff. As you can see, when you're building a 5-color deck, people like throwing in all of the duels and expensive cards, because 5 colors kind of tricky. So if we get past all that stuff, we then have Forbidden Orchard. Forbidden Orchard is a weird one. You can add any mana of any color, 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, but an opponent gets a 1/1 colorless spirit. It's a thought. It's a maybe. Tarnished Citadel is a very bad City of Brass. Bad in that it hurts you a lot more. You can add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool for nothing, so it is a little more flexible. Or you add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and it deals 3 damage to you. I think we can do better. Gemstone Caverns I don't like in Commander. If we could play 4 of them, it's a lot better. As just a land in a deck that's 100 cards, and 1 of them, like, you are way more often just hitting the it just adds a colorless mana and does nothing else. So, no. Reflecting Pool is great. It's like the, what is it, Exotic Orchard up above. Is that it? Yeah, Exotic Orchard. Add 1 mana to your mana pool. Yeah. I don't know why Exotic Orchard then is 25 cents and Reflecting Pool... Oh, that's right. Reflecting Pool is your own land, so you're controlling it more. That's why it's $33. What I am going to throw into this deck, just because they are a little too good and fetchable, even if they do add up to a decent amount of money, are all of the Triomes. If we're going to have lands be entering the battlefield tapped, I want them to be as useful as possible. The Triomes fill out our mana extremely nicely, and I also love that they have cycling on them, just because cycling's great. Cycling is one of my favorite mechanics. Like, if you draw a land late game and it has cycling, fantastic, it doesn't matter. Reflecting Pool is $33. It hasn't been reprinted a ton. The World Tree definitely goes in. So the World Tree is a newer land from Kaldheim. It enters the battlefield tapped, which, as we've been saying, is a cost. I think we're just going to have to accept the fact that a lot of our lands are going to enter the battlefield tapped and try to account for that at this deck. But as long as you control 6 or more lands, lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. So the World Tree is land fixing, which is phenomenal. It also has the sub thing where you can Door to Nothingness cost, double Wooburg. Oh yeah, I did put that out there, didn't I? Nah, I forgot to update the Nightbot thing. Modern Horizons 2 is out. I think there's another thing coming out for that in a second from Nightbot, but we'll see. Anyway. Yes, you can pay double Wooburg on the World Tree and sacrifice the World Tree, search your library for any number of gods, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That could be another way we go, is throw a bunch of gods into the deck, but that's a little unfocused for what all the other stuff we're already doing, plus the World Tree I think is too valuable to keep onto the battlefield with the, turn all of our lands into anything. So I'm not sure we end up playing that one. We could play the Battle Bond lands, which are the entire cycle of lands where if we have 2 or more opponents, they enter the battlefield untapped. They're very good. Some of them get a little spendy, like Morphic Pool is $30, as you can see. So I don't know about that one. Path of Ancestry is interesting. We add 1 mana of any color in our commander's color identity. In a 5-color deck, it's any color. It does enter the battlefield tapped. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with our commander, scry 1. Garth is a human wizard. We can probably find more humans and or wizards to play. So I might throw that in there for now, just to have. As far as other fetches like Prismatic Vista, if I'm going to throw Prismatic Vista in there at $35, I would be throwing in some of the other fetches. So for now, no. Fabled Passage is a maybe. Just call the deck Whizbang. Good lord. You are on a roll today, Card Kingdom. So for now, that is the start of our colored lands. We're gonna get to gates. Don't worry. I've resigned the fact that we're going to get to gates. Real quick, I highly doubt that it's a ton of money. I'm just gonna check to make sure that Maze's End isn't randomly $1 million. Maze's End. On good old cardkingdom.com here. Sure. $3 or $4. We can manage that. All right. Let's exit that and go back to EDH Rec real quick. EDH Rec. All right. So we know Maze's End is going to end up going into the deck. It's been a day. I'm sure it has. Real quick, we hop up to utility lands. There hasn't been a ton of decks built for this, so there's not a ton of utility lands yet, weirdly enough. There's just not a lot of, like, info out about the deck for people to really do stuff. So, what can we do otherwise? We can... Ancient Tomb is not a utility land. That is just a mana-producing land. A utility land to me means that it has to do something else other than produce mana. Like, for example, Minamo, School at Water's Edge is a card I'm definitely throwing in because untapping Garth is very good for our deck. And it is just add a blue mana or untap target legendary permanent. It's $15, it's kind of spendy, but it does what our deck wants to do, so it goes in. Gaia's Cradle is not a utility land. Gaia's Cradle is a mana-producing land only. It is one of the best ones ever made, of course, but it's not a utility land, and I don't know why it's in here. Field of the Dead we could do. We're already being really cute with our lands. I don't know that I care about Field of the Dead. Cascading Cataracts is an indestructible land that lets us either add colorless or for 5 and tap, so essentially 6 mana to add Wooburg, or 5 mana of any combination of colors, so Wooburg or 5 white or 5 black or 3 blue and 2 red. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I think about Cascading Cataracts. What do you all think? That's a weird one. Colorless lands are going to be kind of at a premium for us. Like, we don't have a ton of room. I am fine throwing in Reliquary Tower. I'm also going to throw in at least one Destroy land. It'll probably be Ghost Quarter. On the off chance that somebody else... I like Ghost Quarter for the corner case of you needing to Ghost Quarter one of your own lands for some reason. Fixing whatever. Somebody else is targeting it with land destruction spell. You can Ghost Quarter your own thing and fix yourself a little bit. Strip Mine is obviously the best land destruction thing. I assume Cataracts just made Wooburg. So did I when I first read it, but if you read it, it's 5 mana in any combination of colors. So, yeah, you can make just 5 red if you want and pump it all into Shivan Dragon, which seems like not the worst thing. So yeah, that's the thing. We'll throw in Cascading Cataract, sure. So, real quick, we only put 13 lands in our clipboard for now. For now, however, I'm going to throw them in. I'm also going to add all of the guild gates, which is going to take me a second. What is the actual win con? What is it you do with Maze's End again? I know it's a win the game sort of thing. I'm just trying to remember exactly the condition with it. So what is it? An enters battlefield, tap, add 1 to your mana pool. Not, whatever. 3 and tap. Return Maze's End to its owner's hand. Search your library for a gate card, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. Okay, that's pretty good. Because if we can find Maze's End, we can start fixing ourselves for 3 mana at, like, our last opponent's end step when it's coming around to us. And then, eventually, you just win the game. You have to spend, assuming you just start with Maze's End and 3 non-gate mana. There is the 5-color gate, too. There is the 5-color gate. Let's search that up. So we go here, we go type, enter custom name gate, just to make sure I don't miss them. It's all of, oh yeah, that's right. The guild gates have been reprinted a million times. So it's going to be all the guilds, and I'm just searching for that one gate. That's the 5-color gate. Gateway Plaza. There we go. Yeah, we can do that. Were there any other weird gates? I'm going to start typing some of these things into Goldfish, which is where I'm building this. So we have Gateway Plaza. We have, let's just get all the guild gates. Fine. Boros Guild Gate. Azorius Guild Gate. This is going to take a second, chat, sorry. Boros, Azorius, Demir. Add that. Gruul. Is it? Yes, it is. I just completely blanked on anything else that exists. Orzhov will do. Golgari. Rakdos. As you can probably tell by me doing this way, I'm not doing this in any sort of order. What have I done? I've done Boros, Azorius, Demir, Gruul. Is it Orzhov, Golgari, Rakdos? We'll do Simic. And Selesnya. Alright, so there's that. We could throw in Maze's End. Imagine cracking Black Lotus token to activate Maze's End. How spicy. If that happens, Jumi, the win will be absolutely dedicated to you 1,000,000%. Throw in the rest of the lands I had copied from my clipboard. Save that. Alright, so where does that put us lands? That's 30 lands. We still have some amount of room. Real quick, let's update some things just so we can get a look at some stuff. So here, 5. So that 30 lands put us at $100. Good lord. And there's what our land base looks like for now. So we still have 7 more lands to throw in. What did I have anything else in mind? I don't think so. Look, I'm the one that's at $300 Uberg budget. Absolutely, that is true. It's those triomes, weirdly enough, that did it. So I don't need a ton more for my land base, actually, if I'm thinking about it. I can throw in... Did I throw in a Reliquary Tower? I did throw in a Reliquary Tower. We want, what else? Like a Ghost Quarter? Yeah, we want a Ghost Quarter. Add that. What other utility-ish land do I want? Because I'm thinking for 5 more lands as I just throw in 1 more of each basic to start, we can adjust things out. Like, there has to be more utility lands that I can do silly things with that work with Garth. Are there? Is there? Should there be? There's Manamo. EDH Rec, what do you have for me? Let's actually go to EDH Rec. They're just all that stuff, that's right. Like, Yavimaya and Urborg, I don't know, they kind of do fixing, but not really. We can throw in something like Bajuka Bog for just that utility, and Graveyard Hate. I don't know that I have a ton of room. So, we added Ghost Quarter. If I up the number of basics to one more of each, just because we are going to be playing spells that do want to go get lands out of our deck. That's going to put us at 36 lands, so we have 2 more spots for lands. Yikes. Interesting. What do we do with 2 more spots for lands? Looking at the full deck there, so 36, there's our lands. We have the Ghost Quarter, we have a Reliquary Tower, we have Minamo. There's feel like there's something obvious that I'm missing. I don't know what it is, and that worries me. Sometimes there's one-off lands, like in the high synergy card sort of things on EDH Rec, so let's look and just make sure we aren't missing anything. Reprints are just the fetches, new cards, no lands. Nothing there, and then we're into creatures. Tectonic Edge, if you want another Ghost Quarter effect, to be honest, I don't love having colorless lands in the stack at all. Yeah, I'm trying to go as low into the colorless lands as I can. Like, the only things I have right now is 1 Ghost Quarter, 1... Like, I only want the 1 Ghost Quarter effect just as, like, a release valve if I need it. We have... Maze's End is technically a colorless land, but that's also a semi-win con for us, so there's that. And then Reliquary Tower. I think that's everything that's colorless so far. Yeah, so 1 or 2 more lands at some point, preferably that produce some color. Just going to stare at the lands they suggested again to make sure I'm not missing anything obvious. That's relatively cheap. Like, how much is Genstone Mine? $11? That's a lot. Did I have a Fabled Passage in there? I did have 1 Fabled Passage in there. I'm fine with that for now. We might cut the Fabled Passage. It does do something good for us, so I'm not too worried about that, like, taking up a ton of space. Yeah, I think this is a fine place to start. Let's dive in really quick. We can come back. We have 2 more land slots to mess around with. For now, we're going to go with Ramp and Rocks. Murmuring Bosk is another Abzan Triome. How much is Murmuring Bosk? Murmuring Bosk, where are you? Murmuring Bosk. Go to EDH Rec. See all what I'm seeing. $1.79. That's not bad. Hello, not dead yet. Yes. Also, hello, Julian? I think that's how you say your name. We'll find out. Murmuring Bosk is interesting. Doesn't hit the battlefield tapped almost no matter what. We aren't going to be having a ton of tree folk. Awesome. Glad I got that right. It is Abzan. Oh, there are the other triomes, aren't there? Oh, but it's not fetchable. Those aren't fetchable. This is fetchable with, like, something that says get a forest, which is why we like it. So, yes. The old school triome lands, tri-lands from, like, Alara block, they are good for fixing. They do not have any sort of land types. They are just non-basic lands, so we can't fetch them, which their utility for us goes way down. But I will throw in Murmuring Bosk. What is your semi-random question? If I can, I will endeavor to answer. Alright, so there's what we got for now. Alright, we're at 37 lands also, which is borderline. I think it's one low, but we'll figure it out. So, do the Japanese alt arts come in the Strixhaven set boosters? Oh, good lord. Off the top of my head, I have almost no idea. Card Kingdom, if you can look that up really quick, just because off the top of my head, I completely forget, but I share your pain in that it is hard to figure out where to get what different treatments of cards. Julian says they do not. So is that just a collector boosters thing then? Or could... For those Japanese alt arts, was that also you could get them in the draft boosters? Randomly? I forget. There was a lot. Japanese alt arts are only in Japanese set boosters and collector boosters. It's collector boosters or Japanese specific boosters. Alright, so that appears to be the answer to your question, not dead yet. Alright, so yeah, we're at 37 lands. Getting back to building this weird monstrosity of a deck. Let us focus on ramp and rocks, which is also going to be very important in this kind of 5-color deck. Soul Ring is kind of a given. Just like Soul Ring will help us cast Garth spells anyway, like Sheevan Dragon or a bigger X on Brain Geyser. Honestly, I don't know how often we're going to be casting Brain Geyser. Like, for me, I think that's the least usable one. Yeah, I don't know. Soul Ring just seems weird. Versions of card and versions of packs reinforce the idea just by the singles. Yes. Yeah, not yet DS, $300 limit we're working with does make things a little trickier on this. So Soul Ring, Arcane Signet are the immediate ones. Chromatic Lantern is going to be our biggest one that I throw in as far as absolutely we're throwing that in. $12, but all of our lands, it's another World Tree effect, which is very good for us. Commander Sphere is a decent one. Yes, it's 3 mana, but, you know, it taps for any one thing that we want, and it can draw us a card later on. I don't know how many rocks I want. Chromatic Ori is also an interesting thought, but we're starting to run out of room budget-wise. How do you feel about Azor's Gateway? I don't even remember what Azor's Gateway does. Let's look up Azor's Gateway. We'll just do it here. Card, Azor's Gateway. 2. Sanctum Sun, Legendary Artifact, Legendary Land, Legendary Artifact. Whoa, that is a mess of... What are you trying to tell me? MTG bot. Alright, I'm just looking it up on Card Kingdom real quick. Azor's Gateway. There we go. Oh, it transforms into a Legendary Land. So it costs 2. 1, tap, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand. If cards with 5 or more different converted mana costs are exiled with Azor's Gateway, you gain 5 life, untap it, and transform it. Add X mana of any one color to your mana pool where X is your life total. That's a lot of hoops to jump through. I am thinking not for this, just because that is... Yeah, that's a lot of hoops to jump through, and it's kind of slow. Because the cards have to be exiled with Azor's Gateway. It's not just like anything we want to... Like, anything that we exile counts for it. Garth does want ways to untap permanents, and we are going to be throwing some of those into the deck, but... Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know. I fear Azor's Gateway. I feel like Azor's Gateway is a trap somehow. Like, your best case scenario, you're exiling things like, what is it, Eternal Scourge, Mist Hollow Griffin, and then a land, but we can't exile our gates if we want to use Maze's End as a win con. Yeah, I don't know about that. Arcane Signet's definitely going in the deck. Don't worry about that. As far as Signets, yes, we can, but how many and which ones is the question. Like, Commander Sphere is easy because it taps for anything. Arcane Signet does the same thing. Sol Ring is just powerful enough at 1 mana that I'm throwing it in. And it's also cheap. We can exile 1 gate, except that if anybody else is playing something like Ghost Quarter, we then need to be playing a Crucible effect, Crucible of Worlds effect, to get gates out of our graveyard. Otherwise, if somebody blows up 1 gate past that... Not dead yet. I think you like the blue part of this deck, don't you? I kind of like Felwar Stone, actually. 2 mana, probably end up tapping for 2 or 3 different colors of mana. Yeah, we can Felwar. Felwar also does play into the let's be fun about things. So that right now is 5 pieces of rock ramp. I then tend to build to blue and use 2 colors for support. Fair. Yeah, Jumi, that is the next part we do now is the ramp. Like, we've got the rocks. We have 5 different mana rocks, which seems fine to start with. Now we go to various bits of ramp, which are going to be things like... Who's throwing Concordant Crossroads into this deck? I get you want to tap creatures right away, but good lord. So, different bits of ramp. We can do stuff like Birds of Paradise or Noble Hierarch. I tend to not like mana dorks. They just die way too fast. Carpet of Flowers is an interesting thought, but... Oh yeah, Chromatic Lantern was definitely in the list. Carpet of Flowers is the thought. I'm not guaranteed that anybody else is playing blue. And if they are... Yeah, Carpet of Flowers is a weird one. It's also $29, so probably not for now. Lotus Petal is 1 use, so no. Chrome Mox is $60. Mox Diamond is $750. No. Bloom Tender and Bloom Tender type stuff would be a thought. Like, that is a dork to me that is worth the risk, if not necessarily the $40 cost, just because it's producing more than 1 mana. So we have a bunch more dork sort of stuff. Let's get down to instants and sorceries so we can do our actual... Oh, this is one. So, Dryad of Elysian Grove. It's a lot of money. But it does kind of what we want it to do. My friend figured out Concordant Crossroads is bad against Dark Depths. Concordant Crossroads is bad in a lot of situations. There's a lot of other effects that do the same sort of thing, but for your creatures, not everybody's, that work out a little better. Yeah. Like, Concordant Crossroads is kind of a baller move just because you own a Concordant Crossroads. Great, but I think there's better options. Meanwhile, working still on ramping ourselves. I don't think there's going to be a lot of instant speed ramp. But don't worry, we're going to go through all this again in a minute. Growth Spiral I do like. Feels a little underpowered for Commander, but for now I'm going to throw it in there. Sorceries, here we go. So we have Farseek. I didn't say that yet, but that is definitely going in. Do I already pass that? Is Faeburrow Eldar up here? Where are you, Faeburrow Elder? You feel like you should definitely be in the list here of, like, top creatures for this deck. There you are, Faeburrow Elder. So yeah, Faeburrow Elder we can definitely throw in. I will count it as ramp, just because even though it can end up being like a 5/5 beater, yeah, it also just taps for a ton of mana. It's real good. Where are we at? Going back down to sorceries. We have Farseek for sure. Cultivate Rampant Growth are options. 3 visits is definitely here. It's the fact... So the difference between Rampant Growth and something like 3 visits, if you do not know. Rampant Growth, you search out a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. Great, it's any land card. This says search your library for a forest, but not a basic forest. So you could search up Murmuring Bosk, you could search up any of the triomes that have forest in them. Yeah, it's just a little better fixing-wise. That said, we are going to throw some of these sort of effects, like both a Kodama's Reach... Ah, what are you doing? Go away. Accidentally clicked on Kodama's Reach. Sorceries, go back down to Kodama's Reach, and Cultivate are definitely going in the deck. That is why we are playing those sort of things. Tempt with Discovery is a thought. Skyshroud Claim at 4 is also a thought. How much does Skyshroud Claim cost nowadays? Has that been going up in price at all? For folks that don't know, I will just show the various things I'm looking up. So first, Tempt with Discovery. Is Commander 2013 card, and it's a tempting offer, which means that our opponents are going to get choices. You search your library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield. Not tapped. It just comes onto the battlefield. Each opponent may search their library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield. For each opponent who searches their library in this way, I get to search for an additional land card. So, it is potentially search up 4 lands and put them onto the battlefield. Not necessarily tapped. If they do enter the battlefield tapped, they will enter the battlefield tapped. My opponents each get to search up the one land they need the most out of their decks. If that's just fixing them a little bit, that's fine. If it's like an engine piece for some sort of lands deck, that can get dangerous. However, it's fun, so yes, I will throw Tempt with Discovery into the pool for fixing. And with that, what are we up to fixing-wise? I'm just going to type in Tempt with Discovery real quick so I don't forget to. In a second here. Tempt with Discovery. Add that, and then the other one we're looking up is Skyshroud Claim, that's right. Skyshroud Claim. $2. Thank you, Battle Bond. Yeah, wasn't Skyshroud Claim getting real expensive there for a minute? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I remember it was climbing for a while there. Crop rotation is actually a decent thought, because we can crop rotate from Maze's End and then use that to start searching up all of our gates. So that's an interesting one. Skyshroud Claim, search up for 2 forests, again, not necessarily basic, and put them into our deck. So that's definitely going to go in there. We do have 10 basics in the deck right now, so it's not like that sort of thing is a terrible idea, but I think we're kind of starting to hit the limit of what we want for ramp, because this is a 5-color deck. We do have to consider ramp very, heavily, but if all you have is ramp, your deck ends up not doing anything, which is bad. So between rocks and ramp, things that I'm counting is that, which Growth Spiral I'll count as ramp. Yeah, we're at 11 different pieces, 12, 13 with the 2 that I just added, Tempt with Discovery and Skyshroud Claim, so yeah, I think that's good. Let's actually add those in. Paste, save, and then we'll do some refreshing on things so we can see where we're at again. I gotta find the right windows. Yeah, doing the stream is a bit of a mess as far as, I have 5 different windows open across various places on the internet. $138.50, so not bad as far as price goes so far. Let's scroll that a little bit. So yeah, there's where we're at, 138 bucks. We're at 51 cards total. We have decent amount of artifact ramp, decent amount of spell ramp, at least 1 creature bit of ramp. That's pretty good. I like all this. I might throw in crop rotation a little later if we end up having room for it, because I do like the idea of just searching up Maze's End randomly. If you're going with gates, Circuitous Route might be better than one of your ramp spells that only grab basics. That is a good call. We will sub out one of Kadam's Reach or Cultivate for that. I know Circuitous Route costs one more. Thank you, Julian, for that tidbit there. So let's swap out Cultivate for Circuitous Route. We'll find out if I spelled that correctly in a second. Hey, I did it. So yeah, for those of you who don't know what that does, we'll show it in a second. Oh, I just refreshed the wrong page. Edit. Circuitous Route. Where are you? Right there. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards, put them onto the battlefield tab, then shuffle your library. So, fitting directly into what we want to do. Thank you for that. You spelled it right correctly enough that I understood what you meant, which means that you fulfilled the basic premise of communication. Don't be snobby with how you communicate with people. Like, there's no need to rag on people's grammar as long as they're getting the point across. Don't be that person on the internet. There's already too many of them. Alright. We're at 51 cards total. We have our ramp and rocks. We have a good land base. We still have maybe spot for one more land. We'll figure that out. We're about halfway through the deck. We have more than half of our budget left. We're at 138 bucks. On to the next bit. Draw and removal. How much actual removal, like dedicated removal spots and things, do I want? I don't know yet, because a lot of the rest of the deck is going to be built around using Garth to do things. Garth does have Terror on him. Garth has Brain Geyser for card draw randomly. We have things like Growth Spiral in there, which already is a bit of card draw. I might come back to draw and removal. Kind of going to go a little out of order. So we're going to build to the theme right now, because that's more fun and more interesting. And a little wider on what we can look for with that. So for now, we're going to skip ahead to the theme. And let's just start grabbing. Let's just go down EDA Trek and figure out what we want. We aren't going to just stick with EDA Trek stuff for this, because I think there's a few things they missed that we'll figure out. What do we want? Kind of got in my head a bit there for a second. Sorry, talked myself into a corner. So new cards. These are all going to be stuff from, for the most part, MH2, except Wandering Archaic. These are all very expensive. They're all very good and interesting. Dam might end up in the deck just because it is a very fun way of removal. In fact, you know what? That is a removal spell I will throw in here just because I like it. It is modal removal. It is either destroy one problematic creature or destroy all creatures. It's nifty. I like it. It's 11 bucks, so it's a lot of money. We'll see if it sticks around. I'm trying to figure out why Wandering Archaic is in here. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy the spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I mean, sure. What's the other side of it again? What does he do? Wandering Archaic. Explore the Vast Lands for 3 colorless mana is sorcery. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land card and or instant sorcery card from among them, that puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand, the rest on the bottom of their library in random order. Each player gains 5 life. Like, sure, I don't think it's great. I don't think this is the deck for Wandering Archaic. It's funny. Like, I can see it just being kind of a useful creature all around. I don't think it's going to be Smothering Tithe. Like, the fact that it can go in any deck is nice, but yeah, I don't care. Reprints, the only thing here is Force Negation, and I'm not throwing Force Negation into this deck. No. High synergy cards. So, we were talking before. We do need a way to reset Garth every now and then. Deadeye Navigator does that very well. Maelstrom Nexus is a fun card. We will get there, don't worry. Uh, excuse me. Oof. This is the most I talk in one go, for every 2 weeks, these streams, so that's kind of right in my throat. Deadeye Navigator we're throwing in because being able to bounce Garth a bunch is kind of important. You have your new Commander All-Stars, just goes infinite with Haze Source. It does not go infinite with Haze Source. Oh, I see. It goes infinite with Haze Source because Garth can make Black Lotuses. That's true. I don't like having infinite combos in my decks if I can help it, just because, like, if I play Deadeye Navigator and Garth, and people see the infinite combo and I don't do it, it's not like... So, for example, people were ragging on Jimmy Wong a little bit on Twitter for the last game nights because he could have gone infinite in one of his turns and killed everybody, presumably, in the game, like 40 minutes in or something. 2 bits with that. 1, game nights is an entertainment product. Yes, they do end some games quickly, and they are building a little bit stronger decks. But, like, you want the game to go on, you want people to do things. 2, his infinite combo had, like, 4 or 5 moving pieces that depended very highly on sequencing, and it was at the middle of, like, what was already, like, a 10-minute long turn. You can just miss things sometimes. And I think having that kind of, like, really janky, a lot of moving parts infinite combo is a lot better than something like, say, Deadeye Navigator and Garth with a Haze Source, because that is just essentially 2 pieces if you have Anger in your graveyard or something. And everybody can see the infinite combo right on the board. Like, to see Jimmy's infinite combo, that wasn't just look at the board and like, oh, you just do this and this. There were a lot of moving pieces to that if you were going to go infinite with it. So, like, A, I don't blame him if he did miss it, and B, I don't know that he missed it or just decided to have more fun than just end the game. Either of which are absolutely fine. So, Deadeye Navigator, you do what we want, but you do it a little too well, so no. All of that was just to get to that point. We have more Mana Dorks, we already got that. Concordant Crossroads, we have better ways of doing that thing, also at $60. We have your Dockside Extortionists, your Hull Breachers, and your Opposition Agents. I don't think these cards are terribly fun. Like, Dockside Extortionists is easily the most non-oppressive of those, but it does just put you so far ahead, or it can. It's also the most expensive of those. Like, yeah, like, this would be the least egregious one for me to put in, and I have no desire to. Hull Breacher and Opposition Agent, I just find make for fun games. If I was just building a commander deck to build a commander deck, I might throw them in, because I am a bit of a spike. I like winning, but I'm building this to try and be more fun. Part of the reason I like doing the show, Commander Kingdom, and this show, is that it forces me to build things a little differently than I normally would. Because I build horribly unfun commander decks for everybody but me. So, trying to get into the mindset of, let's just have fun, can be useful. Mass Hysteria is all creatures have haste. If you use it to bring guys or opponents to ramp yourself. That is, like, the least egregious use of Hull Breacher. Like, you get people playing Wheels and Hull Breacher, that's just rude. Brain Geysering an opponent to ramp yourself. The problem is I would just want to Brain Geyser myself. Like, ramp definitely has a place, but I like cards. Mass Hysteria is an option. I think we have other options we can do that are a little less let's help everybody. I built the Politics deck last time. I'm not trying to build group hugs, so while Mass Hysteria is good, it's too good for everyone. So, no. Not right now. Man, people love just throwing expensive stuff into Garth. Look at all of this. Heuristic Study, auto-include plus Tithe. Heuristic Study would be an auto-include if it wasn't $38 and we're trying to do a $300 limit. So probably not right now. All of these things are kind of expensive. Greaves I will definitely put in. Greaves will help us protect Garth and, haste him. The only problem with Greaves is the Shroud bit, because that means a lot of the other things we're going to throw in that help untap stuff won't be able to unless we move the Greaves around. Goodstuff.deck. Yeah, like, that is the other problem with building a 5-color commander. It is very easy to just, what are the best cards in all of the colors, throw them in, and that's your deck. But then all of the decks start feeling the same, which is why I'm trying to build this much more to themey. My ultimate way that I would win with this deck is that I beat somebody to death with a Shivan Dragon, Brain Geyser somebody else out, and, I don't know, regrowth just use Garth to win more than anything else. Rhythm of the Wild is a good way to give things pseudo haste, because non-creatures you control have Riot. They enter the battlefield with your choice of a +1/+1 counter or haste. Regrowth something. I don't know, like, say I end up playing Torment of Hailfire. I don't think I'm going to end up playing Torment of Hailfire, but, like, just regrowth some sorcery or instant win condition seems like a fun way to win with Garth. Rhythm of the Wild I like because, one, creature spells I control can't be countered. I don't know if anybody's going to be playing control or counter spells, but that's always a line of text I appreciate. And it's pseudo haste. If there's no reason to give a particular creature haste, I can just make them bigger with the +1/+1, or I have Garth just re-enter the battlefield every time I flicker him with haste, which seems good, so I like it. We aren't playing enough fetches for Brainstorm, but I appreciate it being there. It's crazy looking at sets that I consider recent standard sets and seeing $4 uncommons. Here's the thing, I like kind of the fact that uncommons, like, I don't think Rhythm of the Wild is broken. I like uncommons that have enough utility throughout multiple formats that they can become those kind of cards. Because, like, that's always existed, it's just there's more of them now. What was it? Spell Snare was, $10, $12 for a while, and that's an uncommon. There's always been those uncommon cards that are just good, and it turns out they're just good in multiple formats. They hit that price, and I think that is, like, the sweet spot of good design. I don't know that Rhythm of the Wild necessarily fits all of that, but just, yeah, I like those uncommons that end up just kind of slotting in everywhere. They make me happy. Abrupt Decay could be good removal, but I don't know. I think we can do better. Thoracle, on principle, I'm not going to throw in, just because we could end up doing some sort of loop where we make a bunch of Black Lotuses over time, Brain Geyser ourselves to be like 2 cards, and then Thassa's Oracle to win. I don't, again, if I was building just for my own unfun for other people decks, that would definitely happen, but no. Anger. We're definitely angering. I do like anger as a way to give all of my creatures haste. It's silly. We can do stuff with it. It'll work. Don't like Mana Dorks. Emiel, what do you even do? Exile another target. Oh, it's a flicker one, right? Turn it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Whenever it enters under our control, we may pay Selesnya. If we do, put a +1/+1 counter on it of Dunecorn. Put 2 instead. I mean, it's a good flicker effect, but it's a lot. Buried Alive to get anger and a payoff to get back with regrowth. I like that. There's definitely those sort of effects. I don't know if Buried Alive specifically will be it, but there are going to be things I am probably going to end up playing to put things straight into my graveyard. Creature and enchantment spells I control can't be countered. I don't know that I care too much about that. And then it's just lands become elementals. If we were going for more of an enchantment theme, then maybe, but I don't think we need it here. Seedborn Muse is always good. It is a way to untap Garth a bunch, but it's also just a huge target. Tasker is always a good card for cheap, in both mana and cost. Tasker is always good. Tasker feels to me like we start falling into the just generically good cards deck that aren't really a theme for anything. And I feel like you can build those decks, and they can be a lot of fun. I like, with these decks specifically, to try to build them a little more themey if I can. Seedborn Muse is a good untapper, and untapping is going to be part of the theme we're building towards, just using Garth a bunch. But it definitely puts a target on your back because you're untapping all of your lands. Yeah. I don't know about Seedborn Muse. Drannith Magistrate, as we figured out in the last Commander Kingdom when Krim played it, is hilarious in that it means that nobody else can play their commander. It also made Crim a huge target for a minute, so probably not immediately. Probably not throwing it in now. Squeeze fun. Vega is really good with Garth. It's going to go into the deck eventually. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. Brago. Deals combat damage to a player. It's another flicker thing. We can throw in Brago. I don't mind Brago. I don't know how often we're going to be hitting with Brago. Brago might get cut just because I don't know how good he's actually going to be in this deck, but sure. Stuff like Mist Hollow Griffin and Eternal Scourge. I don't know. I don't know what we're exiling all that often to need to do that. Kiora's Follower is the first big untapper we're going to throw in. E-Witness is fun, but not one of those kind of generic good cards. If we have a big reason to be doing it, maybe. Soul Herder, we can definitely throw in. Samut is interesting as another Give Everything Haste card. I don't know that we really need it yet. Imperial Recruiter, we could, but I don't know. I'm not building specifically for it. Stuff like Grand Abolisher is good. Vex and Kosher is fine, but again, I don't know if I'm going up against hardcore control. These feel a little more like meta calls. Samut can untap Garth, can't they? Yes, we'll throw Samut in. I completely missed that last line of text. Thank you, Thulak, for pointing that out. Keenan Bonder Prodigy. Whenever you tap an on-land permanent for mana, so it's like Fabro, Elder, and our rocks right now. Herder plus Thassa equals 2x loadings each turn. Oh, like, we can... The way I plan on this deck working out, we can go more than 2 a turn, but we'll figure out how that works. Look at the top 5 cards of your library and put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Sure. Like, Kinnan would be more there for ramping and using our rocks a little better, but I don't know that that is enough. And yes, Kelpie Guy. For anybody who watched the Game Nights episode, everybody thought that Josh Lee Kwai said Kelpie Guy instead of Kelpie Guide. And it was funny. And he got made fun of, as he should have. Pronunciation is key, kids. What else we got? Thassa is exile up to one other target creature you controlled and return that card to the battlefield. $17. Thassa is an option, but I'm going to see if there's other stuff we can do first. Brutaclad. This is another thing I want to do with this deck. Josh Lee Kwai almost got it going at some point. No, Jimmy stole it from Josh. But Brutaclad. Creature tokens you control have haste. Great. When we make our Shivan Dragons, they'll have haste. But at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So, if we control a Black Lotus token, and we have a bunch of other tokens and a bunch of mirrors, we can suddenly have a ton of Black Lotuses, and, you know, huge Brain Geyser, huge army of Shivan Dragons. Yeah, Brutaclad does silly things with Garth, so it goes in there. Vizier of Tumbling Sands is indeed another untapper. I do also like the cycle version of it. Sacrifice. Oh yeah, this is the crazy good card from Modern Horizons 2. Don't know if I'm playing it yet, but it's funny. Essica's fun. What did Prismatic Bridge do again? At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature, Planeswalker. I mean, that's fine. Essica would be the reason to play this more, which is, you know, fixing, and then all of our legendaries can fix as well. Maybe. I don't think that's super important yet. 1,000-Year Elixir is definitely going to go in once we get 2 artifacts. There was another one I was thinking of too. It's another artifact, something stone, something that also lets you tap creatures quickly, or more often, something. I forget. Anyway, we'll get there. Resto Angel is an option too for untapping Garth, or just resetting things. Avenger of Zendikar is a good payoff, especially if we can get Brutaclad going. We'll see on that, though. Like I said, I kind of like the idea of just having a bunch of Shivan Dragons being my ultimate win con. Instance. This can do some things. Let's see here. We have all of our big counterspelly sort of things, which is fine. Entomb. We might do something Entombish, but it's not going to be Entomb. Swords is always an option. Counterspell. We haven't really been looking at one of the rules that I have in here, which is ABU, anything from Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. I kind of figured that rule would kind of go out the window, but if we want to play Counterspell, I'm going to insist that we play actual Counterspell, just because it fits the Garthy theme. Maybe, I don't know, it's a lot of money. Also, Cyclonic Rift is just Cyclonic Rift. Yes, somebody does eventually have to win the game, but Cyclonic Rift wins always feel kind of anticlimactic somehow. I would say Intuition's a great way to get things into the graveyard for, like, anger, but it's $190, so no. Ephemerate I do like for Garth, and or just saving something random. What else do we got? Eladomri's Call. I just like the best thing I can think of for us to search up right now would be like Brutaclad, and I don't really care enough. Snap could be funny to recast things. I don't want too many of those sort of cloud shifty effects. Like, we already have Ephemerate. Yeah, nah. Ooh, this is the thing. So, like, Fairy's Protection and, here it is, Heroic Intervention. Those are good effects. We are making a bunch of token things, so what I'm going to do instead of those in that sort of slot is another mechanic I kind of want to throw in here, but I don't know how much. We're going to play Rootborn Defenses instead in that kind of slot. Leads Fairy's Protection and whatnot slot. For anybody who doesn't know what Rootborn Defenses do, I'll put it in chat right now. Card, Rootborn Defenses. Instant. Populate. Creatures you control gain indestructible 10 to turn. So it doesn't quite do what things like Fairy's Protection or all of Heroic Intervention does, but it does protect us against a lot of sweepers. And if we have any of those tokens out, like your, you know, Black Lotuses, your Shivan Dragons, things like that, we just get to make another one. Seems silly. Ghostly Flicker we could throw in. I don't mind throwing in Ghostly Flicker, that seems fine. Yeah, I think that's all good for that stuff for now. Sorceries, what do we got? Bunch of wheels, Neoform, stuff like Windfall. Farseek we already have in there. Manipulate Fate is... Why is that a Garth thing? That seems like a weird fit for Garth. Like, I saw Mist Hollow-Griffin and Eternal Scourge up there before, but, like, I don't get why that's a big Garth thing. That just seems kind of weird. Oh, what else do we got? We got a lot of expensive stuff. People like their expensive stuff in Garth. Good lord. There's Buried Alive. Yeah, we can do Buried Alive. Not as expensive as I remembered it being. Second Harvest. Second Harvest up here? I didn't even see it if it was. What is Second Harvest? For each token you control, create a token that's a copy of that permanent. Maybe. That could definitely be a thing at some point. I'm just going to go through real quick. Yogg's Will. Yes, let's do that. No, we aren't Yogg's Willing. Where are we at? For a card, remove that from the game. Like, what is this card doing in Garth? Like, I don't get it. These are just like people playing CDH or like playoff things. It was like $1 when Ultimate Match was released, but yeah, it used to be higher. Love grabbing Anger and Wonder to toss in the yard myself. Wonder is a thought. Like, at the moment, I'm kind of on the plan of we're just throwing in stuff to regrow with Garth. But, yeah, we'll see. We could do flip cards also for multiple lands, but we'll figure it out. Conflux is silly. But I don't know. Alright, here's stuff we need to get into. 1,000-year elixir. Yes, we may activate its pseudo haste. ABU is alpha beta unlimited. As much as we can go old school, we're going to. That rule is so far kind of, we're somewhat ignoring it just because it's hard, but like our counterspell in this deck is counterspell. Because it's funny. Garth is one of the most old school Magic characters imaginable just because he was the protagonist of the first ever Magic book, Arena, which is kind of terrible. If we're going to mill Splendid Wreck is super good. I don't know that we're milling. Anyway, 1,000-year elixir. Swift Boots is a consideration for it, but I don't know. Like, we already have Lightning Greaves. Whenever you activate an ability, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay 2. So here's the thing with Rings of Brighthearth. It would normally be great. We do have to pay the costs for all the spells that come off of Garth, and that's getting a little mana intensive, so I don't know that that's exactly what we want. Conjurer's Closet I'll throw in just because repeatable, bounce and flicker. Stuff like Lithoform could be good, but I don't know. Battle Mage's Bracers is kind of the same deal as Rings of Brighthearth. Enchantments, what do we got? You have things like Fervor. Creatures are my control have haste with Temur and Ascendancy. That's all good. Underworld Breach could be just fine. If Garth has Shroud, it's harder to flicker untap him. They are less mana intensive, is the large answer. You can move them around for free once you have cast them. And there are also, like, assuming I have multiple creatures, which I can with Garth just because you tap to make a Sheevan Dragon, you can just move the Lightning Greaves around, which, yes, that does give your opponents a window to kill Garth. Oh, that's the other land. That reminds me of the other land I wanted to throw in. Command Beacon. Garth is kind of expensive as a commander, so having ways to get him into our hand again and recast him without having to pay all the commander tax seems good. I knew there was something else I had in mind, and I couldn't remember what it was. Where was I? Things are happening. Freed from the Real. Seems silly with Garth. We'll do that. Fires of Yavimaya. Good lord. Losing my brain. Fires of Yavimaya is a decent way to give our creatures haste. I think we're getting goodish on that. I don't know. Like, we can throw in stuff like Fervor or Fires. I know I have several copies of Fires just because they reprinted Fires in, like, every Commander product for years. So I could throw that in there. I think we have enough things. Seedborn Muse is good, but I think, like I said earlier, it just makes you a target. People hate seeing Seedborn Muse across the table from them. I would rather just, like, if I can be Conjurer's Closeting and, like, flickering Garth other ways, I'm fine just making 3 Black Lotuses per turn cycle and not having all of my lands untap every time. Jeskai Ascendancy is a fun one. Just because Jeskai Ascendancy means that Garth untaps himself. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you untap all those creatures, so you tap Garth to make Black Lotus, cast it, you are casting it off Garth, Jeskai Ascendancy untaps. Yeah. It also means we may start looting, which is another way to get anger into our yard if we draw it, so that seems pretty good. Doubling Season, you're $80, I'm sorry. Kiora Behemoth Beckoner is definitely one of the Planeswalkers I want. I might think of other Planeswalkers, but that's definitely the winner. It's because it untaps, and it untaps a bunch of things. I can make Sheevan Dragons, which will be entering, so that draws me cards. And I can regrow it with Garth once it's used up, once it's killed itself. So, yeah, it seems good. Alright, so, with that very quick once through, That was 21 cards plus a couple of others that I just typed in. So let's see where that ends up putting us, both money-wise and cards-wise. Let me switch our view here real quick. Update that, update that. Where are we at? We are at 197.16, 73 cards in. So we have another 27 cards to use up $100. Not bad. Stinging Study. Instant, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of commander you go into the battlefield during command zone. Draw 5. Yeah. Draw is definitely something I need to focus on at some point. Just looking at over the deck real quick. Let's see. How many ways do I have to give things haste or just use their abilities quicker? Also, what was that one? Oh, I know where I was looking it up. Hold on, let me find that again. I was looking up stuff on Card Kingdom right before we started just to kind of get some ideas. And... no, not there. Pounder? Which one's Pounder? Having to search back through my history. Here we go. Is this what I'm thinking of? Oh, Ponder. Haha. There we go. Okay, anyway. Stinging Study is a good possibility with Garth. Just draw 5, lose 5 life. Lose 5 life kind of hurts, but we can make that up somehow or another. Anyway, what do I have for giving people haste? I have Anger, Samut, however you want to say it, the Lightning Greaves, and Rhythm of the Wild. That doesn't seem bad. Also, what is it? 1,000-Year Elixir means that I can use those abilities immediately. So pseudo haste seems fine. What else do we have? Okay, so I do like Stinging Study. We can throw a Stinging Study in there. Stinging Study just feels like the life loss feels like people aren't going to mind the cards as much. Stinging Study. I think that's right, Echo of Eons. I know which card you're talking about, and it's certainly a thought. Real quick, let me just look through this one thing I was finding. Partner with whenever you cast a spell during your turn, untap target creature. That was the one I was going to do. Chakram Slinger. Teamer Ascendancy is also pretty good. Alright, so we'll throw in Teamer, Ascendancy, and I am also going to throw in Chakram Slinger, which I will bring up in just a second. Save, refresh some things. Where dost that put us? Staff Domination's real good. I don't know how I feel about Staff in this deck, though. Like, it's... So, to untap Garth, we basically have to use up the, Black Lotus that we make with him. Like, it's always very good. I just don't know it's super what I want in this deck. So, first off, the other card I threw in here... I can type, I promise. Was Chakram Slinger. It's kind of spendy. 4 and a red for a human warrior that's 2/4. You can partner with the retriever. I didn't think I bothered with that one. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I wanted the retriever, not the slinger. Guard. Chakram. Retriever. There we go. Whenever you cast a spell during your turn, untap target creature. So, let me fix that since I threw in the wrong one. You, Chakram, Slinger, are supposed to be the retriever. So it's just like another Jeskai Ascendancy effect, but it's any spell. It doesn't necessarily have to be, whatchamacallit, non-creature. Which seems good. Just make sure that's all framed well enough. Yeah, seeing all the cards there. So 76 cards in now. We're kind of getting into the utility and miscellaneous stuff at this point because we have a bunch of themes. Riptide Laboratories, no money, that's wizard synergy. That's what, we can bounce a wizard back to our hand? If we have a bunch of enters the battlefield with wizards, that's a thing, but I don't know that we really do. Meanwhile, oh yeah, it does take up another land slot, doesn't it? What was, somebody was saying Obelisk of Alara, what do you do? Did I not, oh, I put an extra S in there. Card. Obelisk of Alara. Gain 5, draw a card, discard, target creature gets this, deals 3 damage to target player. Like, that's kind of silly. I don't mind that, but we'll see if we have room for it in the end. Is Queen Marchesa still like $8? Which Queen Marchesa? There's, oh, actual Queen Marchesa, because there's the other Marchesa that's something. You become the monarch. Queen Marchesa is still like right around $7 or $8, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it in this deck at the moment. We have a bunch of untaps. We have a decent amount of flickers. We have haste. Cool. We have some amount of card draw. We can start getting into various forms of removal. And then just other stuff we want to throw in. So let's do that. Go back to this view. Go back to Edrek. And let's just start looking around and seeing what I might have missed that I want to throw into this deck. We have about $100. Kessel does allow me to play spells twice. I've played Kess before, both as a commander and in decks, and I'm always super underwhelmed. It's Dissident something. Yeah, Dissident Mage. During each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard. Yeah, I don't know. Kess has always super underwhelmed me. I think it just draws too much heat. Like, people just see it and they'll just kill it on principle immediately. So yeah, I don't know. I do not know about Kess. What do we want? What do we want? We could use some more removal. We could use some more just straight up card draw. Things to feed. Library? Library is half of my remaining budget. Like, yeah, if I put a $1,000 limit on this deck, we could throw all kinds of things in here and the deck would look a lot different right now. But, yeah, some things it's fine. There's Kenrith, but Kenrith is also, I feel like people just see it and just sigh and try to kill you instantly for playing it. Same for something like Golos. What else do we want? Something kind of fun and a little weird. Could throw an Avenger just to have, like I said, another big body somewhere in there. I don't know. I don't know. Could just throw in good old Solemn to have it. Oh, how much? We're copying things. We like copying things and spells. How much is Riku of 2 Reflections nowadays? $10? $8? Somewhere in there? So, yeah. What do y'all think of Riku? So it's a little mana intensive, but whenever we cast an instant or sorcerer spell, we may pay blue-red. If we do copy that spell, we choose new targets for the copy. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, play green-blue. If you do, put a token with a copy of that creature onto the battlefield. So, Riku doesn't work with the Shivan Dragons because it has to be a non-token creature entering. Some of our other non-token creatures are great to copy. Riku does work with any of the spells we get off of Garth. So your Regrowth, Terror, Brain Geyser, Disenchant. We can copy those with Riku. That seems silly to me. I kind of like it. Sure, why not? We'll throw in a Riku. E6. I do own an E... We built E6 a couple of times ago. We could throw in an E6. First time you create one or more tokens, you may instead choose a creature other than E6 and create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. So, it doesn't make our Black Lotuses... like, we can't explode on Black Lotuses. We could make more Shivan Dragons or other creatures we control sort of stuff. Card Kingdom. Why are you this way? Who hurt you, Card Kingdom? I'm throwing Riku in the deck. Y'all can't stop me. E6, I don't know. Nomura did hurt. Hey, everybody, in a non-MTG related note, who all saw that Stranger of Paradise or whatever it is Final Fantasy trailer from E3? That was something. I don't know about you, but I sure hope that guy gets to kill Chaos. What do we want? We can throw in, like, yeah, we do start needing to find some, just actual removal and things. We can throw in Path or Swords. I thought it was hilarious and can't wait to see how over the top it is. So, here's my thing. That game is made, like, I don't know if he's the director or something, but, like, Tetsuya Nomura is involved with that game, right? There's the 3 protagonists that it looks like. The 2 who are not, like, the lead guy who keeps talking about, I need to kill Chaos, are in custom armor that has, like, a bunch of buckles and zippers and, like, fancy-looking stuff that Tetsuya Nomura likes. The main guy is, like, in a black crew-cut Hendley and black jeans. There's no buckles or zippers or anything anywhere. That's, like, Tetsuya Nomura's thing. What happened? I don't understand. It's so weird to me. I'm throwing in Path. I mean, 14 chilled on that with some characters. Tetsuya Nomura, 15. Some characters, but he got to spread that out over 4 main characters and then all the other people. Like, I feel like Lulu from 10 was Tetsuya Nomura finally, like, exercising something from his soul. But, yeah, I don't know. What else do we want in this deck? Fire Covenant. What are people doing throwing Fire Covenant into the deck? Like, what? So you gain some life, then just Fire Covenant somebody out of the game? Ha! Good one, Card Kingdom. Alright, we need to find... Oh wait, I didn't clear that, did I? Okay, so clear that. We'll throw Path into here just so I don't forget it. I did not add Riku yet. There's Riku. Path to Exile goes into the deck. Oh, what else do we want? We can do things like Reanimate. We could just throw in Wrath. Damnation's an option. Wrath would probably take the place over Damnation. We do already have... Did I throw Dam into the deck yet? I didn't throw Dam into the deck yet. Let's throw Dam into the deck. Dam was the modal one from MH2, where it's either black, destroy target creature, it can't be regenerated, or overload for 2 white. It is a fantastic design. I really love Dam. What else do we got? Oh, we can do Faithless Looting. That gets us, like, we're regrowing things anyway. And we have stuff like Anger. Oh, we can throw Wonder into the deck too then. Why not? What was the rest of that cycle? I know there's Genesis, but that Genesis isn't exactly great for this deck. Praetor's Grasp? No. No, what are people doing with their lives? Enchantments, we could throw things like Tithe in there. We do still have some room for things. I don't know, though. Could do Monologue Tax. Impact Tremors seems kind of funny, but we aren't exactly being that explosive about things. Any other Planeswalkers we really want? Who's throwing Oko? They're going food and things like that. A lot of these are just token makery sort of stuff. Yeah, huh. There's gotta be more interesting things than just this. There's Dam for anybody who missed it before. Destroy target creature. Can't regenerate this way. It's cool. I really like this card. Mass Hysteria, no. We have enough hasty effects now. We have one counterspell, which is actual counterspell. I'm kind of hesitant to throw too many more counterspells into here. I like being a little more reactive than proactive about that kind of thing if I can help it. We could study. Like, that is a decent amount of our budget, but it's just good and it draws us cards. I don't know. We do have a decent amount of incidental card draw already in the deck, too. Like, I don't think we're hurting too much. We could throw in... You know what? I'm just going to go for it. We're going to throw in Seedborn Muse, everybody. What was the other one I had in there? Oh, Faithless Looting. If we want to get mean, we throw in Dranith Magistrate. We could squeeze just to be that person with, like, some of our, like, Faithless Looting effect sort of stuff, but I don't really think it's necessary. Do I want things like Windfall? We can Windfall just because we can regrowth anything that we want. Maybe a Windfall. We're about to get down there anyway, so... Sakura Tribe Elder, Yavma Elder is also an option. We are running 10 basics. Does help us get our colors sorted out. Windfall is a sorcery, isn't it? Okay. Do I want to do swords as well as path, or just path? Narset's Reversal is actually fun. I do like that as a secondary counterspell. It's not actually countering, it's just letting me do it instead first. Ponder's fun. We can Windfall. I know there's been a lot of discussion about wheels and EDH on Twitter and whatnot recently. If you're wheeling with Hull Breacher out, that's just rude. Yes, it's kind of a way to win the game, but it also doesn't immediately win the game. It just kind of drags things out forever. Unless, like, depending on the board state. I do think there is a way to fun wheel and like not make people feel awful about it. Yeah, I do like the idea of some amount of reanimation in our deck and of dumping things into our graveyard to regrowth them. And then, like, we can regrow Animate Dead sort of stuff. So yeah, I think we are going to throw in a Windfall just as one wheel. And then we throw in Animate Dead as well. Where are enchantments? Enchantments are there. Is Animate Dead already here? It isn't. Wow. Would have figured that would be a thing already. Well, they have Dance the Dead instead. Dance the Dead's more expensive, isn't it? Besides, Animate Dead's old school. We like old school. Yeah. Animate Dead. Let's throw these four into the list. Still got some room here. Where are we at? So with everything I've added and all the mumbling, we're now up to 85 cards, so we're getting somewhere. This is always the tricky bit. It's just the last few, which is why we are now officially moving from utility to the final 100. This is just figuring out those last few spots. Where do we want it to be? There's our visual view. Let me update the actual list. Getting a little cluttered on the visual view over there. We're at 248.22. So I have 15 cards and a little more than $50 to work with. What do we want? We've got some room in creatures. We could throw more creature-y things in there. I don't like... Yeah, Sheevan Dragon is going to be our big creature that actually wins us things over time. We could use some more smaller creatures, just bodies to fill up the ground. Or air, you know, keep us alive for a while. So that's a thought. We have our Planeswalker. I don't want to go too big on Planeswalkers. Oh, I have Dam in there twice. We can fix that. We do not want 2 Dams. We only want 1 Dam. That probably changes the price that we're at a bit. Come on. 5 and F5. There we go. Oh yeah, Dam costs like $10, so we're at 84 cards and we still have a decent amount of budget to work with. Alright. Got Windfall, we got a bunch of stuff. What is some weird stuff we can just throw in there? Oh good lord. I had some cards in my head before we started and they've all completely left my brain. I mean, I know something we can do just to get some inspiration. Feels a little cheap, but I'm not above that entirely. Let's look at Josh Lee Kwai's deck list from game nights and figure out if I'm missing anything that we should do. Oh, there we go. Adrix and Neb Twin Casters is definitely a good one. So yeah, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many are created instead. So it's not like doubling season costs a lot. Adrix and Nev does not. It's $13, which is a decent amount, but it's not, you know, crazy. A Pheto Alchemist is another untapper we can throw in there that is lowish cost. Yeah, 2 mana. Let me get typing these things in. Adrix and Nev. Affeto. Alchemist. Magerite Stone. That is the one I was thinking of a while ago. Thank you. I forget what that does, though. I remember looking it up earlier and being like, oh, that's interesting. Magerite Stone. Untapped target creature that has enough tap. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Let me just clean up my list a little bit here. Okay. Magerite Stone. Add card. I'm just going to make sure that none of these are like tilting us over somewhere price-wise that we can't go. Nope, we're good. Magerite Stone is like $9-ish, but not awful. Alright, what are we looking at? We can do things like Godsire just because, like, you know, we're untapping stuff. General Ferris Rockrick. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, that's fine. Josh was also not worrying about cost for any of this. He's got a Kiki-Jiki in here, Mangara, Okame, what do you do? Oh, Okame's fine. Priest Fellerites, Reese the Redeemed. Royal Assassin seems funny. With all of our untappers, sure. We could use more removal. Royal Assassin, for anybody who doesn't know, is 1 black for a 1/1, but tap, destroy target tapped creature. Scion of Draco is very funny, and we're going to throw it in the deck. It's about $10-ish. Yeah. Yes. So Scion of Draco is, for anybody who does not know again, Scion of Draco. Domain. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each basic land among land. You know what? I'm going to try to put this in a spot where y'all can actually see it, which is just a little tricky to do with the way I have this all set up, so bear with me for a second. Did that do it? Yeah, that did it. Okay. So yeah, Josh put his deck up on Tapped Out. Obviously, he's going with a bit of a bigger budget than we went with, but that's fine. Where are you? Scion of Draco. Domain. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control. Technically, we are Darkspire Dragon building the OG Magic Novel Pro Tag deck. I'll show you the list we're working off of in a second. First off, Scion of Draco. Costs 2 less for each basic land type among lands you control. It costs 12 mana normally, which means we could potentially, by turn 3, cast this for 2 mana, just because we play Triome, and then anything else. As long as those 2 Triomes have all 5 basic land types among them, it costs 2 mana. It's flying 4/4. Each creature you control has Vigilance if it's white, Hexproof if it's blue, Lifelink if it's black, First Strike if it's red, and Trample if it's green. So Garth gets all of those, which is funny and great. Oh, here's the thing. He didn't do it. I was seeing if Josh threw in a Arena. Selvala. Each player reveals top card of his or her library for each non-land. So it's a way to draw cards, possibly ramp, gain life. That's fine. That feels too nice to me. Raven Doomsayer. Tireless Provisioner is food or treasure, which is fine. Oh, Vega. Somebody had mentioned Vega earlier. Vega works great with this deck. Yeah. Let's throw Vega in here. I completely forgot about Vega. ABU and $300 limit. So the ABU thing. The ABU was, we're trying to go old school if we can. That has somewhat fallen by the wayside, I'm going to admit. I didn't keep that too much, but, you know, we do what we can. Was he throwing any interesting lands in here that I miss that aren't just expensive? Yeah, not a lot. as far as like utility lands. He has Manamo too. On the plus side, ABU wasn't my suggestion. I just wanted you to have fun. Thank you, Card Kingdom. I appreciate it. I'm also fine ignoring at least one of the 3 rules if we can. Like, the price limit rule is easily the most restrictive one and the most fun to try and build under. Mono old wizards, but you shot that down. Like, then I couldn't play Scion of Draco. I couldn't play any of these other fun cards. Chitter Spitter. Can sack tokens, but it's fine. I'm not... Creature tokens we control have flying. It's fine. It's a Josh Lee Quiet Exo, of course. It has Vidal Canori. Could throw in swords. I certainly don't mind swords. Toxic Deluge is another sweeper's possibility. Search premises. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker we control. Investigate. I kind of like that. And then Fervor. I definitely like Search the Premises. That feels like just enough of a weird one to me to be good and silly. Where are we at if I threw that in there? We're now up by 91 cards, 273. Real quick, let's price check one card that I'm going to see if we can throw in here purely for thematic reasons. In no way because it's good. Go here, here. Hey Arena, how much are you? The guild. Oh, Gates Ablaze would be good, wouldn't it? All of those Gates cards would be good. I should look up those. Good call, Jumi. Arena is $5. Tap target creature you control and target creature of an opponent's choice they control. Those creatures fight each other. Hey, that's pretty awful. This is the card that Garth is from, though. Or the card of the book that Garth is from. Oy vey, is that, like, how far is taking a joke too far? Anywho, as far as gates go, so, Gates Ablaze is the one you are thinking of. X damage, where X is the number of gates you control. I'm down for that. That is thematic and in keeping with the deck we've built. Gates Ablaze. You're in the deck. Is it Gateway Colossus? Garth cast Wall of Wood quite a few times against Lord of the Pit, so how on flavor are we going? Oh, good lord. Where are you at? Gate Colossus. Are you the one I'm thinking of? One less for each gate we control. Can't be blocked by creatures. You know what? That's just annoying enough and big enough, dumb enough that I'm willing to throw Gate Colossus in there. Garth also did... What else did he do? He did something else dumb in that book that was like, what are you doing? Real quick, what is Wall of Wood? Are you the... Is Wall of Wood the one I'm thinking of? The absolutely terrible one? Oh no, it's just straight up. That wouldn't even block Lord of the Pit. Lord of the Pit had flying, didn't he? Yeah, flying trample. What the crap. Anyway, Gateway. We want to do some more gate stuff. This, I feel, is funny. That one's dumb, though. Or at least I'd rather do stuff I don't have to tap lands to make happen. Gateway Sneak. Meh. What's the RAM? Gatebreaker RAM, that was it. What are you again? +1/+1 for each gate you control. I remember that being a lot better than it is. Well, it was fantastic in a... Gateway Plaza, I think, is in here, isn't it? Already? Do we have it? Yes, we do have Gateway Plaza. I mean, I'm fine just throwing in more gate-adjacent things just because it's funny. Oh geez, if you search for gate, there's just a bunch of random stuff, okay? Oh, the gate victory is already in here, Darkspire Dragon. Hold on, let's switch to the list so everybody can see what we're actually working with here. So yeah, there's the... Oh, I need to update that. Let's save you, because I think I threw in some stuff since then. Save, and then refresh. And refresh that. So yeah, here's what we're working with. There we go. Yeah, we're definitely going for the Maze's End silliness. Yeah, ABU is more of a loose guideline than all of our cards must be from ABU. If we were trying to build a commander deck out of just cards from ABU, we couldn't have commander. So, yeah, I wasn't worrying overly much about that. Where are we at? We're at $273. We aren't doing bad here. Does the Venser Planeswalker flicker? It does, doesn't it? Thought it does. Venser the Sojourner. Venser the Exile Tower is the beginning of the next end step, which isn't the worst thing. I like Venser as a character. Those things are fine. Like, those are just good to have, I suppose, and I find having just more utility good stuff. So, sure. Soul Guide Lantern. I don't have any real Grave Hate, so I suppose having some amount is probably good. Oh, Crop Rotation is going to throw in. That's right. Soul Guide Lantern. Thought Vessel as a backup. Reliquary Tower. Crop Rotation to find me my Maze's End. Conjurer's Closet we have. We have our TARDIS, don't worry. 4 more cards and like 22 more bucks. Thought Vessel and Soul Guide Lantern are now in the list just because I like having utility. Grave Hate and card draw is indeed always good. Alright, what else can we do here? How much token duplication are we running? Not a lot. We have like Adrix and Nev so far. And other than that, like, Parallel Lives and whatnot is, you know, good, but it's also expensive. And the big part is the $300 limit. The sorcery ramp card that makes zombies for caring about deserts if we need more ramp. We don't have deserts, though. I think we're pretty good on ramp. We have a pretty large amount of ramp here. What do we want? Like, there is a bunch of just random stuff we can do. Intrepid Hero seems fun. Oh, Intrepid Hero seems very fun. Okay. It helps if I spell it right. Intrepid Hero, for anybody who doesn't know off the top of their head, 2 and a white for a 1/1. Tap, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Again, works well with all of our untappers and stops people from playing big stuff. I do like Godsire. If you watched Game Nights, Josh played that pretty effectively, it turns out, when you can make like 4 of them a turn. Oh, good lord. Darkspire Dragon, you know too much. Come on. 98 cards. I'm just trying to think what else we want. Arena was a novel. Josh had Arcanus the Omnipotent, which is draw 3 cards to tap. So yeah, I'm fine with throwing Arcanus in there. I like drawing cards. Alright, so we're at 99 cards. Refresh all the things again. Not F9. I want F that. There we go. And there. Got 12 bucks and 1 more card. We'll take key. Like, I feel like we have enough untappers at this point. I kind of want to do something silly if we're going to do something else for this last card. Mana Tide. Silly, but that's a little soul-breaking. Oh, I can just do something that copies a spell, right? What copies a spell? What's the explosion expansion? Sure. That seems fun. Mana Tithe would be amazing. Fork is incredible, but I believe is more than the entire cost of this deck at this point. I like Expansion Explosion just as a way to use that Black Lotus to close out the game. So we have a Fireball effect, we have a copy of spell effect, which we can use. Which should mean that will do it. Indeed it will. So let's get our final views of everything up here and situated somewhat correctly. So there's the deck. There is as much of the list as I can show you in one thing. We are at $290.93. So, right in under the wire. We're also right at 4, so I need to tell you who all we're playing with. We are going to be playing Commander Kingdom, this deck, against Alias V, Joseph Johnson, and Joey Schultz. Alias V, you know from around the internet. She does a bunch of Magic commentary. She's very good at it. Joe Johnson, you've probably seen on Game Nights. He is also the I Hate Your Deck podcast. He's part of that. Joey Schultz runs or helps run EDA Trek and does part of the EDA Trek podcast. So thank you, Joey, for helping me build this deck today. But yeah, this is the deck we've built. Here's Garth One-Eye. Garth is a really weird commander to build around because, yeah, it's just making 6 other cards and you kind of got to work around them. So this is definitely the hardest commander I've built as far as it kind of points you in a direction, but not really. And it's very easy to just make a good stuff pile. And I hope that this is a little more interesting than just good stuff pile. We'll find out, though. I get the feeling that when we play this deck in Commander Kingdom, it's either going to do surprisingly well, or I'm going to do nothing and watch everybody else kill me. That feels about right. Thank you for joining me on this journey of building the weirdest deck I have built in a while. 2 weeks, we're going to be playing this deck right there on June 30th at 2 p.m. with all of those wonderful guests. I will see you then. Thanks for hanging out. Take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day.